So today we're going to talk about creating your family capsule wardrobe. Now, what is a capsule wardrobe? Essentially, a capsule wardrobe is the minimal amount of clothing that you need and getting the maximum results from those clothing pieces. So why would you want to do this? There's three reasons that I found the reasons I love a capsule wardrobe. And that's one, it's very budget friendly because you're getting just the minimum that you need, and you plan it intentionally so that they all match with each other, and so you can get a lot of variety for a very good budget. And then the second piece, the reason that I love a capsule wardrobe is that it saves you time. I don't know how many times I've walked into the wardrobe and I'm just like, I have nothing to wear. What do I wear today? And you're trying to decide what to wear, or there's laundry hasn't happened yet and your stuff doesn't match. So a capsule wardrobe really saves you time because it creates a color palette that you have as your color palette. And then essentially the plan is, if you do it right, that pretty much anything can match with everything. And then also, as far as saving time with kids, is that I find I can let them pick out their clothing. They can get dressed in the morning and I'm not worried about them coming out in something that does not match and I need to change them because I cannot look at what they're wearing all day. So I love the fact that it gives a lot of freedom for my kids as well to pick out their clothing without feeling like it's not going to match. Third is that it helps a lot with mental energy, because something called decision fatigue, where we can only make so many decisions in a day before we just get fatigued from making decisions. And so I don't want to use all of my mental energy trying to decide what I want to wear in the morning. I have more important things, bigger things to do in the day than to be deciding on clothing. So this just frees up a lot of mental space, as well as also just feeling like your family feels cohesive in terms of the colors and wardrobes, where that you're not clashing in terms of your clothing choices for the day. And if you're out making memories and taking pictures of your family, you're not going to get back and look at the photos and go, oh, our clothing really clashes. And I don't know if you see that in photos, but for me, being a photographer for a long time, that's a big deal for me. So it helps to create some of that cohesion with your family as well. So I want to talk about steps of, if you're wanting to create a capsule wardrobe, how do you go about doing that? So the first step that I find is that you want to create a color palette. You want to decide on what looks good on you, on your family. And one of the ways that you can do this is that you can kind of do helps you do, like, a girls' night or something. You get a bunch of your clothing all together, and then you just want to go on a neutral background, and then you just throw the clothing across the front, and take a picture, about just to get your face and then that piece of clothing. And that helps you to be able to tell what colors actually look good on you and what colors don't. You take all those photos and then you look at them back to back, and it's amazing how much the right color on you for your skin tone, your eye color, your hair color really helps to make you feel a lot healthier, help you feel more alive. And so that's one way that you can be trying to figure out color schemes. But the other thing is, if you don't have a lot of time, you're a busy mom and you don't have a lot of time to sit down, take photos and try to figure all that out, is that often if you look around, the things that you tend to surround yourself with in your home are often a good place to start. When you look at the colors of your home, the things that you really like, the colors, that's a good place to start, because wearing those colors in your home, you're just going to feel, it just will feel like it fits and it belongs. So for instance, for us, for our home, we have a lot of greens, warm tones, creams, blues, reddy browns, reddy orange, or orangey browns. Those kind of colors are in our house, and I didn't realize it at first, but that's the color palette that I've gravitated towards in terms of dressing my kids, and for us, that just seems to work really, really well for us. So start with just the things that you surround yourself, the things that you love, as a really easy, quick way to get going on your capsule wardrobe. Now, sometimes what you can do is you kind of pick a base, so you can pick your base colors that are kind of like your family colors, that are the ones that you have a lot of, and then you can pick some strong colors off of that are good for, if you have some colors that look really good on you, then those are kind of some colors in your color palette, some on your kids. Like for instance, I tend to look better in more richer, deeper blues, whereas my daughter has blue eyes and blonde hair, so she can look a lot better in dusty, lighter blues. And so just kind of keeping in mind your tones that way a little bit. But yeah, look at your home, pick a color palette that you think would fit for your family, and then try to stick within those colors as much as you can as far as your clothing choices. And that will help to bring a lot more cohesion and make it a lot easier for you to get dressed in the morning, just because having that color palette is going to make it easier to match, and really limiting those colors. And so the second thing you want to do is you want to make a list of the minimal amount of clothing that you would need to be able to get through the week as far as clothing. And so one of the ways you can do this is you want to list your jobs that you do. And so this can be things like, for me, it's the sense of being a mom. So there's things as far as with that, there's things that as far as like nursing, I have, a different wardrobe as far as a maternity wardrobe. There is stuff as far as I'm cooking in the house, so I want that in mind. Things as far as just taking care of the home, I want things that are flexible and have really good movement, because those are some of the jobs that I'm doing. Now, I'm also helping my husband with our business, and that is with videography and marketing. So that tends to be a lot more of, you want a professional feel, but it's also very active as well. And so for those, I tend to do more stuff like tunic dresses I really like a lot. But in general, what I'm thinking about in that one is ones that, again, lots of movement around. I don't want to be thinking about my neckline. I don't want to be thinking about bending over, any of those kind of things. I need to be able to focus on getting the job done. So that's another one of the things. You might have things in there as far as if you're exercising, you need to be thinking about what jobs are your clothing doing for you and what that needs. So you might be like, okay, I want high necklines because I'm very active, doing stuff that way. But then right now, like I'm nursing our son, and so there's a sense where I need something that's also going to be able to work as far as nursing and what that looks like. So anyways, make a list of your jobs, and then you want to be putting down the minimal amount of clothing that you need to be able to have enough for those jobs for that week. If you are doing more stuff as far as out professionally, need some more business stuff, put that in. We also have, as far as for Sunday, for church, dressing up, special occasions, then you have your ones that way. But really just think of the minimal amount that you would need to get started, and think about what the ideal colors for those items would be. And so another thing that really helps as far as choosing your capsule wardrobe is really thinking about your patterns and what kinds of patterns you like, and trying to stick within that. So you're not, patterns are one of those things that are tricky because you don't want to match too many different patterns together. You don't want it to be too busy. And so if you can kind of be like, if you really like stripes, go for stripes. If you're like polka dots, go for polka dots. But try to minimize your patterns so that you don't have too many different patterns. That's going to help a lot as far as getting dressed in the morning. And for me personally, I actually prefer trying to stick away from patterns a lot. For me, generally, as far as for us, that minimalism, that mental energy, I find that sticking away from anything with pictures on the front, anything with words on the front, and being very specific and minimal about your patterns is huge. So what I really like as far as adding in is textures. If you can add textures as far as like, for my little boy, I really like the waffle weave. You add textures like that, or knits, or those kind of things, that adds a lot of character. So, and those are just tips as far as for me being a photographer for 7 years, telling families what looks good in photos. In general, stick away from the pictures, the words, be very, very careful about your patterns. And if you add textures into your clothing, it's just going to feel a lot more, there's there's just something just very relaxing about it. It's going to take away a lot of the busyness in your wardrobe, and it's going to just really mellow it out. And for me, that's huge as far as mental energy. You have two different types of clothing that you want to be aware of. And one is the cake clothing, and the other is the frosting clothing. So the frosting clothing is the really fancy, frilly, lacy, the stuff that in general is the easy stuff to buy because it's fun to buy. It just has a lot of character to it. It feels like a unique piece. So that's the frosting piece. And then the cake piece is like, it's like the shirt that I'm wearing right now. It's just a simple black long sleeve shirt. That's a cake. So frosting's really fun to buy. Cake often feels kind of boring to buy, but cake is going to go with like everything. Frosting often has its limitations. And so filling up your wardrobe with a lot more cake pieces, and then being very intentional about your frosting pieces, that your frosting pieces are going to match really well with your cake pieces, and they're very minimal. Also, cake pieces often tend to be a lot cheaper too, so that helps as far as your budget as well. But I find often when I'm buying cake pieces, I'm not that excited about them, but I end up wearing them all the time just because they work so well. So basically, what I've started to find with minimal wardrobe is, even as a sense of going, often what we do is we find a piece we really like and we buy one item. And we'll have like our wardrobe is full of all these individual shirts. But what I started to do is that when I find a piece that I really, really like that works really well for me, I stock up on it and have multiple shirt of like the exact same shirt in my closet. This helps to really shrink down the time getting changed. A lot of like CEOs or people who are doing, have a lot of decisions to make in the day. They really like end up weeding down their wardrobe to basically wearing one outfit all the time. Like if you look at Steve Jobs, he has like the same thing, and that's like so that he's not wanting to focus on his wardrobe. He has lots to do. And so even that's one thing to consider that feels kind of boring, but it also it can start to really feel like you and your brand as you do it. And it's amazing how much it really cuts down on your mental energy with getting dressed in the morning and just feeling like it's, again, you don't have to think about your clothing. So this last time, for instance, some of the things I've decided I've really liked is like thinking about neckline. I really like the boat neckline because for me, it's higher. I don't have to worry about bending over. To me, it just really works really well. I also really like long sleeves a lot. I'm in Canada. It's often a little bit chilly out, so having a long sleeve shirt is that. So to me, I'm really been looking at lately as far as just a solid boat neck long sleeve shirt. So for instance, once I found some that I liked that matched in my color palette, which I found black, gray, and navy blue, I ended up just buying up like five, so like two of a couple, one of one, and just stocking up on those because those are cake tops that I can use with like everything in my closet. And I wear them all. Like those are my weekday clothes where I can just throw it on and I don't need to think about what I'm wearing. And at the time I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. It might be too limiting, but I don't want to go back to the other because it's just been so freeing to not have to think about clothing in the morning. So often for me, what my capsule wardrobes look like is like, I do often like blue jeans, and then I have my boat neck long sleeve, black, blue, or gray top that I do with that. And to me, that's my weekday work clothes that I love. If I'm going to go out and do like a shoot with my husband, I might wear like a tunic dress with some leggings and some boots. That's kind of my work wardrobe. And then for anything as far as dressing up or Sunday, I will wear like a skirt with my boat neck top again, and it goes with like everything. So, and then you can pair it with accessories as far as where you can start adding your patterns and your flair and your frosting. Works really well through like scarves, through belts, through jewelry, that kind of thing. And that can make your wardrobe go way further. Even like, jackets, those kind of things that you can add on can really make those pieces go further. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about some of the things that I found for my kids as far as their clothing, and then also my wardrobe, that I kind of find is our ideal color palette. Basically, for me, I've narrowed down my main color palette to my key colors are cream, gray, and black. And those are kind of the neutral tones that I find can go with anything. And then I have a couple accent colors off that are green and blue. And then my things that I wear as far as like boots, belts, purses, bags, those are all in either like a camel orange color or kind of a reddy brown color, mostly aiming for the camel orange. So when you're doing stuff as far as boots, belts, bags, those kind of things, have them all be the same color. So if you want to go with black, have all of those be black. If you want to go with brown, have all those be brown. That just helps to be able to really match everything really easy. So as I said, for those boots, belts, and bags, that's generally a camel orange for me. And that's been made it really easy as far as matching stuff. So for me, most of what I wear during the week is just a boat neck, simple top. Again, that's a navy blue, black, gray. Another thing that as far as adding textures, this is like a sweater, and it's just, a darker blue. As I said, for me, these kind of darker colors I find just work better for me. So this is a great way as far as a sweater, adding in texture to your wardrobe. This is my gray boat neck top that I, again, wear all the time. And then I have, this would be an instance of like my tunic dress that I would wear. So this is, this has some really, really nice textures in it. And it's just, again, it has that kind of boat neck top to it. So I'm not worried as far as working hard, bending over, that kind of thing in it. Now I'm finding more and more that I like this color a lot, but just a little bit more forest greens work better for me than the dustier colors. But this one can still work. As I said, it's your color palette is kind of a guideline. It doesn't have to be 100%, especially if you're working within a budget. This is one as far as textures. This has a little bit of pattern to it, but it has kind of those same color tones. This ties into my camel orange. This is kind of between a blue and a charcoal. So, a lot of those colors that I showed you, those color tones all kind of match together well. And then this is like an instance as far as a hoodie that, again, like I'm finding just this kind of forest green, brighter colors look really good on me. So this is kind of my version of a lot of the greens that I have, like, whereas my kids' greens look slightly different. So like Anya, our daughter, I put her in a lot of like tunic dresses because I find those, I love the look of them, but also just very economic to go with the tunic dress and then some leggings. So generally she has this green, but then her leggings would be either like black or navy blue to go with any of her outfits. And this, again, has like a nice texture on it. Nothing with words or or pictures. This is one of her little summer dresses. So again, this one has a pattern in it, but being specific with your patterns. And this is in her blue colors, a little bit more dusty blue. And then this one is kind of a navy with the cream. So I find for us, we end up wearing a lot of blue between all of us. And that's partly because both my kids and my husband have blue eyes, and that looks really good on them. So I end up just going with a lot of blue. For my son, I have this charcoal gray for him. It's in terms of sweater. And then we have this isn't quite a waffle knit, but it has that texture. I'm trying to remember, rib texture on it. The little buttons just adds a lot of character. Again, it's very cake, but it has a lot of character to it as well. It's not just super boring. And then I have this little dress shirt that's a light gray. And then he has his little blue and cream checkered plaid shirt. So again, with this is like, there is some patterns there, and you're not dressing your family for a photo shoot necessarily in your capsule wardrobe all the time. There are some patterns there, but just like I said, try to pick them specifically. For us, what we tend to go with more is like for the boys, I will go with like the checkered for patterns. And with the girls, I tend to go a little bit more in terms of this finer pattern like this. We don't really do polka dots. We don't really do stripes. That's not really our pattern. You hear all this and I'm sure you probably feel like you just want to go out and you want to just get rid of your wardrobe and just start over and just do a big shopping splurge. And I really would caution you against that, because it's going to take you time to find your what works for your family. And so and the other thing is, if you go out and just try to do it all, replace your whole thing all at once, you're not going to be able to find all the pieces that you want all at one time. And so as you're out shopping, as you're looking for stuff, just really, the biggest thing really is just defining what you're looking for. So even as far as like when I had to make up my maternity wardrobe, I defined as far as going, okay, I need this many pairs of pants. I need this many shirts. And then basically, and I was like, I want a couple short sleeves. I want a couple sweaters between that. And then I wrote down and I said, ideally the sweaters. So I want 2 sweaters. Ideally the sweaters would be these colors. I want some cake tops. Ideally the cake tops would be these colors. And I want some pants. Ideally the pants would be this. And so then when I was looking, did all those pieces end up being that, like exactly what I defined? I'm like, no, because I couldn't find the pieces in all of the exact things, but it helped me to be able to not buy things that weren't going to match, and define it so that then it was really easy to see when I did find stuff that worked for it. But also like the last time when I picked out my maternity wardrobe, I loved it because it was like, honestly, I had like 3 pairs of pants and like 6 shirts and a couple dresses. That was it. But they worked for everything. Like those shirts I could swap between, I could wear everything together. And I felt like I had a ton of variety between those pieces. And I was so happy with how that turned out. So now in the maternity wardrobe might be a little bit minimal for your like everyday wear. You might want a little bit broader than that, but like it doesn't have to be a lot. Because you are really just looking at a week at a time. And if you switch out the pieces, then, you could be wearing, like I said, this black cake shirt. I can be wearing this. I can put a scarf on it. It feels like a new piece, right? I can put a jacket on it. I can put a belt on it. I can wear it with a skirt. It feels like a new piece. It doesn't feel like I'm wearing the same thing all the time. So yeah, so take your time of just really defining your colors, defining your pieces. And then once you kind of get that, then just keep your eye open for stuff as you're shopping, and you'll start to see it starting to come together and starting to get your pieces. But the biggest thing is really having in your mind what you're not going to buy anymore, so that as you start to get your pieces in your closet, you can really start to get it defined and narrowed down to be what you want. If you're looking for inspiration, I would really recommend starting like a Pinterest board. I have a Pinterest board for the boys. I have a Pinterest board for the girls, and I have my own like Pinterest board as far as styles. And I can even tell, like from a few years ago when I was looking at it, that my board, like the style has really changed and shifted. So I'm really glad I didn't just go out and buy all the stuff that I wanted way back a few years ago, because my style has shifted and I figured out more what I actually like, what I'm going to wear. And I've been able to define it so much better now. And so I feel like even when I'm going shopping, it's so much easier for me to say, does this fit in? Yes, no. And I can, and I can make way better decisions when I'm buying stuff. Now, do I still buy stuff and go, whoops, that was a mistake? Yeah, because sometimes you think if it's perfect in your wardrobe and you get back and you start using it and you go, you know what? I can't move in this shirt. It looks nice, but I can't move in it. So I just never wear it, right? Or that kind of thing. But as you go, you'll get better and better, and you'll make a lot less bad decisions, a lot more good decisions, I hope. So if you found that helpful, then, leave me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos, I'm just trying to do these videos really quick on Saturdays. And my husband takes the kids for a little while so that I can just focus for a couple hours and do these. So if you like them, I'd really appreciate just your encouragement with them to let me know that you're finding them valuable or things that you'd like to learn. And And if you really like them, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.